Let's make sure. Maybe go back to my page. Let's see. There we go. Ah, yay! We're here. Okay, hi, I'm Carol with Desert Wreath Creations, and I want to thank you for dropping around tonight. I'm trying to get this all straightened out so I know how to go on live from now and for a few days from now. So, what do you say? Let's get started. We're going to make a fabulous fall wreath, and I'm hoping everyone will kick back and enjoy themselves. So I'm going to lower the view down, and if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I promise it'll get better. And hey, let's get this going. Let's see. So tonight we're going to be using this gorgeous sign that I've got right here. And just trying to look and see if I can tell if anyone's on. And looking at us right now. So this welcome fall pumpkin sign, I think it's a gorgeous sign. This is in my shop, Desert Wreath Signs, if you're interested. And I am just well, there we are. I can't see messages. Oh, there we are now. Okay. Well, I'll have to go back and look at them. So let's get started. This is a 10-inch round sign. Like I said, it's available in Desert Recreations sign shop on Etsy. So if you want to get that, it's more than welcome. I got a lot of other signs. So first we're going to go ahead and we're going to start on our sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the middle of the sign, and it's going to be right there where that stem is. And I'm just sort of going to find me a spot where I can get it moved out. So there and about right there. That'll work. And I'm going to come in with some super glue. And I'm going to put this right here. A little drop. Let's get it to going or flowing. This way, if we do this at the beginning, is when we start our wreaths, our sign's always going to be done by the time we need to put them on. Okay? This is a gel. This is DAP. Okay? And I'm just stringing it everywhere. Put some right there. Okay, so now I'm going to take some cable mounts. These are cable tie mounts. You can get them anywhere, guys. Amazon, your local hardware stores, anywhere. These are 3M. It doesn't really matter what brand, because I found out that if you're going to be putting them on one of these aluminum signs, that you need to take, you can take and just put the super glue to the sticky part, but then the sticky part falls off of the plastic part. If you live in a really hot weather area like I do here in Southwest Texas. So we're going to take that off. I take a pair of pliers or needle nose or whatever you got to get it started. So I take the whole sticky part off. And that way I'm gluing the plastic to the metal. And then what I do is I move it around to smear that glue, and then I press down on it. Okay, let's get these other ones off right quick. It's a little tricky. There we go. Make sure we get it all off, or as much as possible. Okay, smear it around. I'm putting 4 mounts on this. You can determine how many mounts you want on your own sign. And this one's a little booger. Doesn't want to cooperate. Go. If y'all don't know me, my name is Carol, and I've been doing YouTube. I usually upload my videos, and I'm going to start doing more lives and get back to uploading on a regular basis. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to push these down, and I'm going to set this off to the side so we can let it dry. Okay. I have a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. Here, this just happens to be a gold one. And this is what we're going to use tonight. Then I have some, just the tan, beige, khaki, whatever you want to call them right here, to so I'm going to take, to start, we're going to have only 8 ties on the outside and 6 on the inside for this wreath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these outer 2 frames and the inner 2 frames to put my ties on. So on the outside, I'm going to start at the bracket. You'll have 6 brackets going around your frame. So I'm going to start at a bracket, and I'm going to use the outer 2 ties. Then I'm going to go around it to the opposite of that bracket, and I'm going to place another one on the bracket opposite it using these outer 2 bars or rings. Okay, now I'm going to turn mine where it faces in front of me to where I have a pipe cleaner on each side at the brackets, and I'm going to go in between the other 2 brackets on this half of the form and put a pipe cleaner. I pull these a little taut so they'll stay in place. They may bend your wires a little bit, but you know, as long as you're not breaking off of your brackets, you're totally fine. So now I've turned it around to my first 2 are here, my other one's in front of me, and I'm going to go right across from it and put my other tie. Okay, so now I have 4 on there. So now I'm just going to go in between each set of pipe cleaners I've got on there, and I'm going to put another pipe cleaner. And for this, all this needs to be is eyeball. Wreathing isn't an exact science, and you don't need it to be exact. I sort of look at it, and if I need to, I'll push it over a little bit, or if it's out of jank just a little bit, that's perfectly fine, guys. As I said, it's not an exact science. So I'm going to go around to the next one. And this way, when you divide it up, sort of like cutting a piece of pie is what I try to remember. It's always going to have 8 ties on the outside. This is a really good way to still get a full wreath, and you save on your mesh because you're only putting 14 ties on your wreath instead of 18 or 16. Okay, so for the inside on this, we're just going to go around to each bracket using these inside ones, and we're going to put a pipe cleaner down on each bracket. Okay, and when I do this on a Dollar Tree wreath frame, I like to bring it and have my tie in right here on top of this 1-2, this top one. Because I feel like if I have it end on the inside, my wreath wants to cave in on me. It wants to lean forward. And I have used the Dollar Tree frames for a lot of my wreaths. I still do. I like to get the frames from Craft Outlet that are a little bit elevated, and all that's going to do is make your wreath thicker. Okay, so if you ship wreaths and you want a really thick wreath, or your customer does, that's fine. But if you ship on a daily basis, that's going to make your shipping cost more because your box has to be thicker to send it in. All right, so let's go ahead and just put all of these inside ones here where they go, and let's go around and open up all of these outside ones. And all that's going to do is prepare us to put our mesh in them when we're ready. Okay? That way you don't have to worry about opening them with a handful of mesh. Okay. So tonight we're going to be using, let me set this right over here. Tonight we're going to be using these are called wide stripe mesh. They're a real thick mesh. It doesn't take as much, and you can get these at Craft Outlet. I'll link everything below. This is a beautiful orange, and this is like a sage green that we're working with. So we're going to cut our pieces to got a string. Let's take that sucker off. We're going to cut our pieces to 20 inches. Okay, 20 inches. Let me get a rotary cutter. I cut mine with a rotary cutter. Where I pulled that string, I got a little fray. Now I'm just going to take it off. Then I'm going to dust that right there in my trash can. Okay. So with this one, I normally would cut 2 meshes together. But with this one, what you want to do, because it will fray on you, you want to cut it in between these lines right here. In between them. And there y'all can see on the deal that they're you've got a little space in between them. And that's one reason. So I want to go straight down in between those lines. And that's going to keep me from fraying. Okay? So, and that's how you cut this mesh. You can also, if you like to use your wood burner, you can wood burn this mesh. I've already got the rest of this cut for us. So all we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a woodland ruffle. Some people call them a cruffle. And I want to show you the difference between a cruffle and a woodland ruffle. Okay? You can get something heavy to hold on to it, and just so I can show you. So with a woodland ruffle, you're going to curl it a couple of times. You can either flip it. But what I do with me is I go ahead and then I ruffle it. Okay. Then I go ahead down here and I roll it. And I roll it and I put it to this right here. And that is what you call a woodland ruffle. And I'm just going to hold that for us. And I'm going to pull one of these green ones in. Now to do a cruffle, you would take your end. Okay. And you would roll it, roll it, roll it quite a bit. At the same time that you were rolling this side, roll, roll. And then you would have like a little space in between them. And this is what I consider a cruffle. This is a true woodland ruffle. Okay? So let's take this one. Make sure our little ends right there are the same. And let's just go ahead and put this right down on the outside. I like to put my mesh on the outside, then come around and then do my inside. And just spread it back around. Nice, full, and thick. Okay? So let's do this one again. We're going to do 2. And I'm going to just ruffle it up. I stop. And then I curl and I curl. You can also roll it, put a clip on the end where you've rolled it. I'll show you how to do that. Different ways. And you have to figure out what's best for you. And I do it all sorts of ways depending on how long my mesh is and all. So say I want to do this like this right here. And I go 1, 2. You can clip it, then you can flip it, and then you can go 1, 2, and then you can ruffle it right up the middle. Okay? Now this piece of mesh was too short. This is the piece I had left over. Okay? So that gives you some different things to think about when you're doing your woodland ruffles. So I've already got some of these pre-curled, so all we've got to do is put them in, because I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch me do that all night. So we're just going to alternate these, and I only twist those twice, okay? And I like to go ahead and bring my ties out so that I don't lose them. And I've lost them inside the mesh before. And then I like to pull these up on each side of the ruffle up. And these meshes are really pretty. This is not quite a bright orange. This is more of a in-between a bright and a burnt orange. This is a really pretty orange. Very different. It's a fall orange, I should say. And I've come to love this mesh. It's great if you make flowers too. It's great to use as poofs. Just come back and go. And now we're putting in our last green piece, going around the outside. And I just hold these and pull them taut in the middle. And now this last piece, I want to make sure it's on the inside. I want to butt this one, and I want to butt this one right up next to it. Make sure all of my pipe cleaners are pointing out, and we're going to open all of the pipe cleaners on the inside. Okay? And we're going to start putting our mesh in. And it doesn't really ever matter where you start on the inside. And you think you can get it to where it will not, you know, be across from the other one on the outside. But I think I've tried everything and it just never seems to work. Okay? So I'm going to make sure this is all pulled up together and like that. Make sure I've got my other one ready for a green one. Here we go. That back over there so you can see it. I can always try to pull it towards me for some reason. Okay. I'm going to hold this up. Make sure I've got these on the outside still butted up on each side of it like we did on the outside. Okay. Find our next one right here. And we're going to put an orange one in it. God, this is pretty mesh. Okay, doing the same thing here on the outside, on the inside, on the other side of it. And see a little string, pull it all the way off. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I haven't been able to see comments. I'll figure that out by the next time you join me. And if there's anything you would like to see made, I'm always very open to new ideas. That's what stimulates us in our little crafting and wreathing brains. And I love a challenge. Like I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed, and hey, drop me a comment down there. Tell me if this is something that you like. If you'd like to see a new style of wreathing, I've got plenty. Okay, let's put this one right in there. Okay. Get everything back up. Oh, a couple of more strings. I like to get them off as I go. Okay, and this is the last piece of mesh going around the inside. Making sure I've got all of this picked up so it stays nice and full. Here we go. It's a nice full wreath. It'll end up being about 6 inches tall. Okay, so that's what we have. So now let's go over our ribbons. Our ribbons tonight is going to be, we're going to be using a just a leaf pattern ribbon that's got a lot of different colors of the fall leaves in it. And it's trimmed in just a little bit of gold. And we're going to put a stitch ribbon with this. And what this is 2-inch ribbons, both of them are. And we're going to use the same ribbons going around it as we are on the top of it. And when we get to the top, I'll show you how I cut my ribbons. And with this, the way I'm doing this and using a 2-inch ribbon, is that there's only going to be one ribbon in each tie. Okay? One ribbon in each tie. So with this one, I'm going to go ahead and put in it the leaf pattern. I'm only going to turn it once, and then I'm going to float my ribbons and bend them like so. Okay? Now with this, I want to go ahead, while we're doing this and going around it, see here what I've got. And I'm going to put some greenery, and I'm going to put some tubing in these, okay? So I went to there's no rhyme or reason for this greenery. The greenery can be your choice, okay? Because I just got a bucket that I put all of my loose stuff in, and I grab it when I'm making a wreath sometimes. So what I'm going to do, this bends, and this fits in perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, where this has a Y at it, I'm going to take this, and I am going to tie this in with my pipe cleaner, okay? And then I'm going to finish it off by twisting it about 3 more times. And then I'm going to cut that pot cleaner off. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to just take it and I'm going to bend it inward. Okay? And that makes this pop a little. And that's what that is going to look like right there. So on the next one, on this green stitched ribbon, which I dearly love, this is one of my favorite ribbons. These ribbons are also cut to 12 inches, perfect length. My green stitched ribbon, you can either open your ties or not open them. Since I don't turn my ties very many times, I don't open them. So I'm just going to turn it once, okay? Now I'm going to take some of this burlap tubing that I get from the Dollar Tree. And I like to have a big, this big fluffy. You can make it little as you want, but I like to have it bigger. I'm going to do the same, pull it tight, and turn it 2 or 3 times. Then I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to turn that right back in under again. Okay? And all I did was pre-make the tubing. I just went loop over loop and made 4 loops. And that's just going to give us a little bit more of depth to our wreath. Okay? And with this way, I like to be really budget friendly on my wreaths, but I want my wreaths. I don't want to, because I sell my wreath, I want my customers to be satisfied with what I'm doing. So I don't want to skimp on materials, but I want to give them everything that they can get on minimal, because that way I don't have to increase my prices. Okay, now this time on this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got all these leaves turned outwards, and I'm going to put some these leaves, these little green leaves in this one. Tie it 2 or 3 times, and I'm going to cut, bend it forward. And all of these little pieces I picked out of my pot or wired, okay? So that way I can sort of bend them any way I want to. And I'm still going to get a little bit of depth in, to this wreath. I love putting tubings in my wreath. Someone told me the other day it was out of style. Nothing really ever goes out of style. It's just what your customers like. And I have several customers that love tubing. And I still make several wreaths that have tubing. Okay, let's put a tubing in this one. And if you'll look, you'll notice, and I'll sort of go over that for future reference with you guys. When I did this wreath and got my supplies out to do it with, and deciding where I was going to put what ribbons is that if I wanted to use this beautiful orange, because they're bringing and brighten up the color of that pumpkin sign, is that I knew I could use a neutral and a green with the orange. And on the leaves, I knew I could bring in a little bit of this fall foliage, and it would just enhance this leaf. So that's why I made my choice. And I made my choice to put the leaf and all with the green, and to not wash out the leaves and the other things I was putting in by putting them with the orange and the stitched ribbon. I just fold mine in half, find my center, and then I just wrinkle it up the middle, organ fold it up the middle, scrunch it up the middle, whatever terms you're used to hearing said. Turn it. And this time, let's do these little berries. That's going to be really pretty. Okay? And I wanted these little berries to come out longer, so I left the stem longer. I'm going to tie it in real tight. I'm going to cut it off. Same thing with the pipe cleaner. Okay? There we go. It's looking pretty, guys. I like to make that ribbon just sort of curl over. Okay. This time I had these little deals and I had a piece of this left. So I thought, oh, why not? Let's go ahead and what we'll do is we pull this little stem out, and then I'm just going to twist these together. Pull those little sharp ones down. I think I'll put that over the top of it once we get it in. Whoops. Didn't get that twisted on there good enough. Those little pointed things can be little suckers. There we go. Nothing a pair of needle noses won't handle. Go. Pull that out. There. Let's flip that over a little bit. They're wired. We can put them where we want them. There we go. And then for the last ribbon and tubing, for the outside, so that's a piece of tubing. Hold on that a little too hard. Perfect. And that's what we've got so far going around the outside, guys. I think it's a lovely thing. Now I'm just going to open these so I can see where they're at. So now I've already cut the green. Now I cut the outside to 12 inches and I'm going to cut the inside to 13. So I cut this. So now let's cut our leaf pattern. Now I have a board here. They're boards, you can buy them all over the place. When I first started out, when you first start buying supplies and stuff, it gets very expensive. So what I started out using is I measured with a ruler 12 inches, 13 inches, 11 and 10. And then I cut wide enough, 3 inches apart, wide 3 inches, and I cut it out of a box. And I doubled it, and then I wrapped duct tape around them. And that is what I used, just like this. My husband made me these out of some leftover little thin lumber he used for a project, and that's what I like to use now. I also would lay them up on my mat, or you can get a piece of masking tape, measure it to the length, put your ribbon up next to it, and cut them individually. I've done that before too. Okay, we only need 4 ribbons. We only needed 3. I cut an extra one because I'm used to it. Okay. Let me get this wound up over here. Go. That's okay. I'll put it back on my roll and I'll have it ready if I use this ribbon again to make another wreath. To dovetail it, I just fold it. There's only 4 pieces here, so I'm folding all 4 of them. I didn't even cut the ends off. And I like to go from the outside, the folded side, down to the end of the wired side at an angle and cut. The same thing here. From the outside folded side to the tip of that wire and cut. And we have a dovetail. Okay, so we want to keep going with the same colors because of the way I explained my reasoning before is the way that they match the best to me. Now you may want to be different if you was to choose these colors, and that's perfectly fine. These are top ones are cut to 13 inches. Okay. I'm going to just tie it once. We're still going to use tubing in the top. Tie it tight. Okay. And then I'm just going to push this over, bring those ribbon up and over, and sort of bend it a little. And we'll move this more to the outside for when we go to place our sign on it. Okay? I can't remember if I bent these, but that one actually ended up doing well. You never know. I'm going to go ahead and turn that one more time. Same way, up and over. I've got some more of this gorgeous berries. And I made a little hole for the top. It's all I did is the wires that when I bent it around, I left for a little opening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this down on that pipe cleaner there in that little opening, and I'm going to, that way it lays better. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my pipe cleaners and I'm going to tie them real nice and tight. And I'll show you what I'm talking about on this next one with that little hoe. Okay, you can go around, put your ribbons in it, and then you can come back and put your greenery in it, whichever way you like. I like to sort of do mine as I'm going around. It saves me having to go back around it again. And on certain things, if I can get by with not using any type of glue to glue things in, I will certainly do that. Okay, I think this is so sweet. Like I said, you can put 18 ties, 16 ties on this. If you would like it to be thicker, fuller, okay. Let's see what we got as far as greenery goes. We are going to be using, just like we did on the outside, okay? So what I've got here is these two pieces, and we're going to just twist them together, okay? So while we're at it, let's just go ahead and take these two, leaves, and let's put them together, and let's take the leaves and just twist it around that, okay, and that's plenty of times, and let's just trim these ends off. Now with this end deal that we've got, let's continue to twist these two together so we're sort of like marrying them. Now what we can do is you can either take your needle nose or your hands and just bring this around like so. And what I've done is make a little circle of the wire, okay? So now if we take this circle of wire, take this outer or inner, going to the outside of you, pipe cleaner, and stick it down on top of it, bring this other one up, okay, and twist it. We're not adding no glue, it's in there tight, and then we still have this added greenery, okay? And then just hold it and push your pipe cleaner back and under, and the rest of this mess isn't going to show here in just a few minutes. You can pull these up. I usually wait till after I get my sign on them, and I pull them up and arrange them, okay? Now I have the last one of this, and let's get it in there. Let's get this back over there. I'm probably making you dizzy. Okay, one time. Our last bit of jute tubing from Dollar Tree. I'll also have this wreath for sale at Desert Wreath Creations on Etsy. And I will drop the link in below. Okay. And now our last ribbon. Okay. Whoops, wrong way, guys. What was I thinking? Okay. This one doesn't have a circle in it yet, so I'm just going to bend it on around. Okay. Let's get that one. This one's going to be pretty tight, getting it through there. But we're going to do it. Okay, we've got all of that done so far, and I think it looks so precious like it is. So let's get our sign we had drying. And look how cute that is going to look down in there. Isn't that going to look adorable? Stinking adorable. Okay? So let's get our pipe cleaners on it. Oops, excuse me. So when I do my pipe cleaners, I only go in about 1 inch, and I take that one end and I twist it around. Okay. Oh, it didn't get dried good. It's okay. I'll let it dry some more. And that's the way I do it on each one of them. Then I just twist it around that other one. Okay. We're going to bring those out. To the top. And I think, let's see how I want that. I want it like, trying to figure out where I want my top. Yeah. Okay. So we'll tie this down. And what I use to help me put in my signs and a lot of other things is this long, it's for your knitting, a weaving needle. And also I see kids learn to sew with these. And this is what I use. And I've got a 6-pack of them in my shop for sale. It's Desert Wreath signs. Okay, I'm going to go in here at the top. But where I'm going to tie it at is going to be that innermost ring. Okay, right here's our two rings, so I'm just going to loop it over them. I'm going to pull a little tight, but not too tight, okay? And then I'm just going to tie it off down here at the bottom. It's really nice if you can use the same color pipe cleaners, okay, that you use on what you're creating, what you used on your wreath. Let's do the bottom. That way it keeps the back looking very nice and clean. And I may have to loosen that top up a little bit, but we'll see. Right there. Same way again. This one came to this outer one here, and it's got a bracket. So I like to sort of going around the bracket. Okay. Very nice. Get our tubing out of the way. And I always make sure that I'm going in the mesh. The mesh is what's going to keep your sign from moving around. You want it to have a connection with that mesh. Whoops. Let's get that pipe cleaner on that needle good. See, I love it when it falls on these brackets. And I actually try to place my sign on them. Okay. See, now we can pull up this here and give it a little bit more depth, even with our tubing. Our berries. Bring this, and I've sort of messed up the outside ones a little bit. That's okay. Oops. okay? You can leave it like this, or you can add a bow to it. So let's make us a quick little bow. And I'm just going to throw in one extra color. We just need a little bow. I have a easy bow stow and go. Okay. We're going to put some of the green ribbon that we used on the bottom. But it's a 1.5 inch, guys. Okay. So let's come out here to the 7 inch. Put ours in there, and we're going to twist, do a hard twist, okay? And I'm going to put that facing you guys. Then I'm going to bring this out here, and all I'm going to do is a 5 inch bow. 5 inch loop, I should say. 5 inch loop, okay? And I'm going to take this, and I always like to keep it fluffed, and I'm going to bring it right up here by that tail. I'm going to take and do another 5 inch loop, curl it under, and make it go across from it, and bring my other tail coming down. And I don't need but about a 6 inch. I did that other one a 7, which is okay. We'll trim it. These are all 1.5 inch ribbon. Okay. Now I'm going to use another stitch ribbon. And this is, we're going to start at a 6 this time. We're going to twist it. We're going to come down with that tail this time. And we're going to come out here to the 5 again. Twist it. And we're going to come down here and follow this tail we put in. 5. Fold it over, bring it up, cut our little 6 inch tail, bring it up next to this tail. So now all we've made is basically an X with our loops. So now we're going to bring in a 1/2 inch of that leaf ribbon. The same leaf ribbon, but this is a 1/2 inch. Okay, I'm going to do a 5 inch tail, twist. I'm going to go up with it. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do a 4 inch loop. Going to come down a whole inch, and I'm going to place that right in between those two. Another 4 inch, fold it over, come on out here, cut it off, and while you're holding that, bring it down. I will be uploading some bow tutorials here on Desert Wreath Creations, so look for those. And in them I'll be going really slow. It'll be an overhead view, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing and learn. So now I'm going to take a pipe cleaner. I'm going to fold it in half. Okay, I'm going to get it ready for me right here. I'm going to turn my bow maker the opposite direction. I'm going to lightly pick these up, okay, to where you have a space in between them. I'm going to take my middle finger, my pointer finger, okay, and just like this, but I'm going to go under here to do it, okay. I'm going to take this thumb, I'm going to bring it over on this side here, and I'm just going to press down, and then I'm going to hold my board and I'm just going to lift off. I'm not squeezing this. You see how my hand is hugging that right there? I'm not squeezing it, I'm just holding it gently. I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, okay? All I did was put it in between where those dowels were. So now it goes right in between my fingers. So now, let me move that. Now I've got this, and I've got a little tautness on it. And so now I push my thumb. I take my thumb and I push down. I take these right here and I pull out. I start a twist, and I take the bow and I twist the bow. Okay? Then I'm going to take these and hold them in my hand, and then I'm just going to go take the tails first. And see, this was only 3 ribbons. So we've got a loop, loop, and a loop. Loopity loop. Loop, loop, loop. So we can get rid of that. Bring this on in. And what I can do now, I can make this even easier on me by taking my handy dandy weaving needle. I put both of them in there. I'm sort of just going to put it like right, let's see, right about there. And I'm going in through the mesh, guys. Right about there. Going in through the mesh. And you have to wiggle it sometimes. Okay? Take it off of my handy dandy weaving needle. And I'm going to pull it down a little, but I don't want to pull it so tight that I'm sinking that bow into that mesh. Okay? Then you just sort of make sure those loops are right where you put them. And then trim your tails. And isn't that the cutest wreath? I want to thank you all for dropping on. I'm going to start going live on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock for a while and see if that time works out. If it doesn't, I'll adjust it, but I'll let y'all know. Thank you, guys. Let me turn it this way. Here you go. Good night.